Hi there. You've worked hard, you've budgeted responsibly, and you set aside $20 for yourself to splurge. Now, you're a single young man. What do you want to treat yourself to? Well, an Onlyfans subscription, of course. Now, these things are expensive. The popular performers, let's call them, have a subscription price of $20 per month. But you don't have to stay subscribed forever. In fact, once you subscribe for the 1 month, you could just save all of their uploaded content for yourself later. Store all of their pictures and videos. Know what I'm saying? So you only need to pay once, the $20 to get all of their content. But of course, the content you do get is all the content that they have released up until the end of that month. They're going to be making more content after that month, and you don't get any of that. That means that the later in time you buy the subscription, the more content you get access to. And you want more content. But also, the later you buy the subscription, the more you have to wait before you get access to the content. And you don't want to wait. You want the content as soon as possible. So how do we optimize what we want here? Which is to say, how do we maximize our pleasure? Well, we can represent our pleasure with a utility function P that is a function of variables C for content and W for waiting. As content increases, pleasure increases. So as C goes up, P goes up. But as waiting increases, pleasure decreases. So as W goes up, P goes down. But pleasure is not equally affected by content and wait time. In fact, how pleasure is affected by content and waiting depends on the preferences of each individual person. For the sake of clarity, let's assign a unit to each of these variables. Content will be measured in posts, waiting will be measured in days. Now, there's no real standardized unit of measurement for pleasure, but it's okay because we are more concerned with the relative change on pleasure between content and waiting. So in terms of my own preferences for content, let's assume every post gives me 1 unit of pleasure. No matter what the post or how many posts have already been posted, my change in pleasure from each additional post is +1. This would be the marginal pleasure from content, which is the partial derivative of pleasure with respect to content. On the other hand, my preferences regarding waiting, every week I have to wait to get access to the content, I lose that same 1 unit of pleasure, meaning every 7 days I lose in pleasure what I would gain from 1 unit of content. So in 14 days, I would lose 2 units of pleasure. We can take 7 days and 14 days as inputs for waiting and plug them in the function representing my change in pleasure with respect to waiting. And then we can solve for that function. Now, having these marginal pleasure functions, these are partial derivatives, and we can integrate them, and their sum will give us my pleasure function. As we are interested in optimizing time, we want to represent the pleasure function in terms of time. So let's represent content and waiting in terms of time. Well, waiting is straightforward. It's a direct one-to-one relationship with time. Every day that passes is 1 day you wait, so we can set W in our pleasure function to T. Content is a little more difficult because we need to know how much the performer is going to upload, and especially about their future behavior, which we can't know with certainty. Generally, they start strong and slow down in terms of their posts. So let's assume their content follows a logarithmic function over time. If they post every other day in the first month, that's 15 posts in 30 days, and so we can give the logarithmic function a coefficient of 4.4 to line up with 15 posts in 30 days. We now plug these 2 variables back into our pleasure function to represent it in terms of time, and so it becomes this. Because we want to find the optimal time, we will find the derivative of the pleasure function with respect to t and set it to 0 to then solve for t, giving us the optimal amount of days we should buy our subscription in.
Fuck it, I can't take it anymore!